Check this out, Derek.
Powered by Riverside.
I forgot how long that intro is, and the fact that it gives a Riverside FM shout out.
It's longer. I know it's longer. That's definitely longer. And yeah, come on, like throwing in your branding like that is disrespectful.
But we use it, so we're the suckers.
We don't pay. A lot of things have changed, but we do not pay enough to get rid of that tag. I'll tell you that much.
No, I don't know. We tried to figure out what paid tier we're in, and that was kind of, it was a gray area, isn't it?
I think the whole application is a gray area. I found myself just unsure of what to do, what to click, how to create a new studio, how to get into an old studio. A lot of AI-driven things. I felt lost.
The whole thing is AI-driven.
Everything's AI. This is AI.
This is absolutely AI. It's been almost exactly a year since we did this as podcast partners. Back then, we went by a different name, which for posterity's sake, I'll just say here was the Go Blue Crew. But I don't think we ever have to talk about our past selves again. We've totally changed, and we'll talk about how. We are now, Derek, hail to the dads, are we not?
We are.
Hail to the dads.
Sounds good.
This is a rebrand, and I think our first order of business, I got my notebook out.
I want to grab mine.
To keep the minutes. Hail to the dads. Our first order of business is deciding how hard of a rebrand is this? Are we totally different, or are we kind of like taking a soft turn away?
Hey, you know what? One of the most popular things on social media seems to be hard launch, soft launch, to do with relationships. And so I feel like this technically is a big decision because there is a difference. I'd say, I don't know, soft.
Okay, we're soft
but I
launching.
want it to be hard.
That's kind of crazy to say.
It was interesting. The way I worded that. I'd say a hard rebrand, soft relaunch. And the reason I'm going to say that is as I was kind of clicking around to see how you upload a podcast in the year 2025, which really shouldn't be that much different than the year 2024, it felt like it would just be easier to change the old thumbnail, the name, and still have it go to the old feed. So the good news is, even though we're probably not going to talk about our past selves too much, you will have access to click through a long series of episodes and history and
a winding history.
And let me tell you, some deep, dark episodes. Not, for any reason personal with us. Just
it does sound like it, though. Where are you going?
We recapped some tough football.
And basketball.
In fact, well, honestly, we probably haven't talked about Dusty May at all. But I think the last time we podcasted, we were still maybe talking about the launch of a basketball season, maybe Juwan Howard's last season. And yeah, tough podcast material. And I think I texted you, I don't know, the other day, a few weeks ago. Time kind of flies. We did a John O'Korn post Ohio State episode that was just brutal. We just knew what the outcome was going to be.
It's hard to think about that. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's hard to look back on those times. We should explain why we're hail to the dads, if that's
a good
not
point.
Obvious.
That's a great point.
I'll go first. I've got a 1.5-year-old now, a boy, a son, who is really getting into chasing, wrestling, running around the house, going outside and thinking he can do more than he really can. So that's where I am, and Derek, I know you're a little farther behind.
Yeah, I'm lagging behind a little bit. As of today, recording this Tuesday, August 19th, I have a 1-year-old.
Is his birthday today?
Literally today.
I feel like you didn't have to agree to do this today.
The good news about this stage being at a year, and I'm sure this could reverse. It's reversed plenty of times. Kid goes to sleep, so I have the ability to hopefully enjoy an evening or two. And this is, with Hail to the Dad, this is how I plan to spend a few of them.
What's sleep like these days?
Good. Right now, good. They tell you about regressions in like the books and the podcasts and maybe from a friend. You're like, oh, wait, just take you to the 5-month sleep regression. Tell you what, I felt like we lived in a regression until about a month ago, full time. So
just a permanent regression.
There's a market out there for me to say that I could probably write a book that's like, hey, you'll read all these things like, hey, watch out for the 5-month window, or watch out for 8 months, or 10's the toughest. I might just write a book that says you could regress the whole time, from the date of birth all the way through a year, and but an amazing journey, obviously. And to celebrate 1 year today, a few days ago with the family, a lot of milestones to come, but this one feels rather large when I look at the the milestones of life you can achieve.
Yes, one is very big, and it was a lot of fun. My son was born in the dead of winter time, right around Christmas. So,
hey, right around a national championship, if you want to be more specific.
That's true. Actually, to tie it all together, we watched 2 seasons ago Michigan beat Alabama in the Rose Bowl, and Michigan win a national championship with my son in the bassinet in the living room, 5-6 feet away from me, sleeping most of the time, and me doing silent scream stuff, not like I don't even know if I made any noise because I was just so scared of like waking him up and going through that train wreck. But imagine watching those 2 games, especially the Rose Bowl against Alabama. Imagine watching those 2 games and like not being able to fully express yourself. You're just there and like it's I feel like it never even fully escaped me. It's still somewhere deep inside of me. But that was maybe the most unique viewing experience I think I could ever have, is watching those games and just like shaking but not being able to do anything about it.
Like literally not being able to react, which is hard when you're playing, it's hard when you're watching an SEC random matchup. It's difficult when you watch Michigan Northwestern, but you're talking about a Rose Bowl and a national championship. Like the emotions, for us, especially you, with how young you are, flowing for that, for the first time like that. 2 things. I was at the Rose Bowl. I don't even know if we ever talked about that.
That was crazy. I remember you being
there.
Yeah.
I would love to think that I'll see a better game in person in a better environment. I just feel like it's going to be hard to top. And I've got a boss, or I guess former boss now, who went to both, back to back, and even he said, like, obviously you can't trade a national championship experience, but if you're looking at a college football game and an environment, like nothing topped the Rose Bowl, even seeing a national championship live. The other thing I wanted to touch on is this silent screaming, or the silent reactions. I was at a little bit of a different stage with a 1-year-old, meaning, my son was born right before open, like maybe week 0 or just before week 0. I don't know what the dates were exactly last year that college football started. It's always pretty similar. So I thought that I was going to be able to do exactly what you did with like an added fist bump. And I think for the most part it worked. But when the dogs are around, they can kind of like just sense the emotion and the excitement with like the movement, something that a baby in a bassinet doesn't realize. And so what I started doing is kind of like doing this fist pump under the blanket. And it just really kind of hid, my emotions, my reaction.
That's erotic, right?
Honestly.
A fist pump under the blanket?
And I think too, like maybe noticed by a significant other during a
Wow.
Michigan game, and there's always that saying of like weird things turn men on, and honestly, I was like, I was called my hands under the blanket, fist pumping, and
Oh
that could
my.
look really awkward during a national championship game. Now, for me, it wasn't a national championship. That was your experience. Mine was probably the one touchdown against Texas or something. I mean, it was my son's first Michigan football season. Luckily, he wasn't able to watch much of it. It was a brutal one, and so it can only go up from there, I would imagine.
Yeah, my son only knows winning Big Ten championships in basketball and beating Ohio State and beating Alabama. That's all he knows.
I've got
Very jealous of him.
pretty decent, fun Michigan win over USC.
Yeah.
Just a weird win over Ohio State. I mean, I would have loved to have been live podcasting after that one. And then obviously a ReliaQuest Bowl win over Alabama, so not quite the Alabama
Beautiful.
from like literally a year before that. So I got some catching up to do, but what a way to start a young childhood with a national championship in a bassinet. I mean, I don't think it gets much better than that.
I want to talk about who we are because we should probably establish that. But before we get there, one question for you, which will apply to any parent in our situation, is now that you're officially the dad of a toddler, not a baby who sleeps all the time, but a toddler who wants to like do stuff, how do you get ready for college football season knowing that you're not going to be able to just sit there for 10, 12 hours like you might have done in a past life? You're going to have to do some, I might say parenting. You're going to have to do some stuff. I've got my way I've been preparing, but what are you doing, if anything?
Kind of got two versions of this. One of the things I did, last year in preparation to having my first child is, what any normal human being would do, and it's buy season tickets for Michigan football.
Of course.
Knowing that obviously you'll be able to spend a ton of time at Michigan Stadium with a 1-month-old or a 2-week-old by the time the first home game rolled around. So I got to go a little bit last year, a couple of games. Got rid of most of the tickets. Obviously, it got pretty tough near the end of the season. You kind of had
But
to
you
give
made
away the
good money initially, right? Or at least like maybe
initially when you sell at the beginning of the season and you sell Texas, you kind of basically make your money back.
or
in some
USC.
senses. USC, I did face value because I wanted my cousin and his girlfriend to go, so don't want to overcharge
You
family.
didn't gouge
and I
them.
think
Okay.
I did gouge a random individual a little bit for the Texas game, and honestly, I thought
Our
that was going
apologies.
to be a better matchup. I think, man, I would have loved to have heard our preview. I know we had to have had one. I mean, we podcasted about a year ago, so we were definitely talking about Alex Orgy. I would imagine Orgy in the end zone.
How dumb did we sound?
Oh, that's why we don't talk about the past, right? Like I don't
Yeah.
even want to. That
Good
makes me
point.
wish that I'm gonna should find a way to not have this be attached to the old. Just give us some grace. Like I was about to have a kid in like a week. You didn't even have a 1-year-old at the time.
Yeah, I was in
and we
the
were
thick of
just
it.
we were coming off of a national championship high. But this year, probably not a whole lot of parenting for some of the home games because I likely will go with my dad or somebody and make sure my wife has some help. Baby is able to be taken care of. He's fun now. Not that a 2-week-old isn't fun, but you're really strapped with a 2-week-old.
Yeah.
Yep. When you have a toddler and they have more of a nap schedule, they can get to bed by a certain time, a little easier. So, hoping to go to as many as time and will allow, and the wife will allow, I should say. For those away games, though, or the games I don't go to, to be honest, have no plan, and I don't know how it will go. I can tell you that it will be based solely around a Michigan kickoff, and I'm just hoping and praying I can fit in other games as time allows. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many good matchups. Like I'll see, I don't know if it's November 2nd, November, I'm making up the date, but I keep seeing this go around like I'm not doing a damn thing on this date.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Michigan doesn't even have a game they might have a game that weekend, but they're not on the list. It's just every other team.
Yeah.
That's a Power 5, blue blood program. And it's like, I'm thinking to myself, like, if that's like an away game or if that's a bye week, like, man, that might be a week where there's no football for me. Gonna need to do a lot of highlights. I don't know if Wheels still does highlights. I used to watch Wheels a lot on
pretty
YouTube.
sure. Yeah.
Really relying on that for like that 15-minute version.
That's perfect.
So, you being more experienced, though, tell me what the plan is so that I can either try to quickly adapt it in a couple of months here or just really lean into how I do this, next season.
Unfortunately, I think my plan is a little bit more of a long play. So
Okay.
I have
Just kind of fatherhood in general.
for months now, I've just gotten my son excited about the idea of sports. We watch baseball quite a bit, basketball less because it's an evening sport for the most part, and that's bedtime. But
I don't even know if that's accurate. Like, I think you just lied. I wouldn't consider 9 p.m. evening, especially in
that's true.
in terms of my kid might be sleeping for 2.5 hours by 9 p.m.
Those are deep into the night games. But so baseball's been a big one, and then putting on highlights, putting on what the Big Ten Network does, the football in 60, just like the rapid fire but full game. So watching that stuff and getting him excited so that he yells ball whenever he sees sports or whenever he sees one of his like little footballs or basketballs. We have a couple hoops around the house that he likes to play with. So that's just been sort of building up in our house for a while. And I can't tell you yet if it actually is going to pay off. We'll find out not week 0, week 1 though. I mean, when he gets up from his afternoon nap and we've got a couple games rolling, including Ohio State, Texas in that afternoon slot, we'll find out if it paid off. I sincerely hope it does. Might need to throw on some Bluey or something like that too, just to kind of keep it spicy.
Multi-screens, no issue. I mean, instead of 4 college football games on, you got 2 Bluey screens.
Yeah, early Bluey and then a late season episode. That's kind of my plan. So I can't tell you if it's worked yet, but I can tell you I've put in the effort. I'm not going in blind. I've got a vision for how it's going to go, and if it works, it might be something I have to tell others about. If it doesn't, I'll just add it to the pile of things that we thought were great ideas as parents, but in fact kind of flopped.
Might be what this podcast is about moving forward. I think if it goes well, it's a segment. We need it to be a segment. We don't know, I guess, who we are, and that sounds kind of crazy. We've been doing this
well,
a long time, but this is new.
Who are we or who are we not as Hail to the Dads?
We're not recruiting analysts. That's the first one that comes to mind.
No. I don't know. I will
say,
kids.
Though, I did watch the Savion Hyder little live stream it just popped up on my X feed right when I had logged in, and it happened to be 11:18. It was supposed to go live at 11:15, and dude, I think there was like some introductions. You couldn't really hear anything, and dude said Michigan go blue within like seconds of it being handed over to him. And if I'm going to talk about recruiting, I'm going to talk about how much I applaud that. And I'm not just saying because the dude picked Michigan as a elite running back. We love the word elite. We'll bring that back.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that like there wasn't this like, oh, I'm going to fake this hat or throw this hat or put on this hat and then put on a different hat or my jacket says this. It was just straight up like I'm going to spend the next whatever they say at the University of Michigan go blue. It was like straight into the point and
the next 10 months. Right.
Yeah, probably. In some cases.
I'm waiting for a 17-year-old to like preemptively announce their second commitment.
That's a great. It's so, and that's kind of what I'm like. It's so like, you got to put on a show that this felt a little bit more down to earth and just like let's get to the point. But you're right. Like at some point, somebody's going to say, for the next 6 months, Or, during my senior year of football, I am committed to blank, but I will open up my recruitment again after, because that's the reality. You could be the highest rated recruit, best running back in the nation, have a senior season, and just, you could be number 17 by the end of the year. You could be worse. You could drop weight on. And so it isn't realistic to have somebody commit. So why don't they just say, hey, for the time being, next few weeks, I'm committed here, and then a few weeks from now, I'm committed here. And this is why we're not going to, analyze recruiting very deeply, maybe outside
I don't want to know
like
these
a Bryce Underwood flip. Maybe that's something we touch on. But other than that, like, there's 17-year-olds.
It feels weird to like get that passionate about the whims of 16 and 17-year-olds.
I'll tell you this as a dad, and I sound way old, and I am older than you, so this is valid.
By quite a bit, yeah.
I need to do the math, not quite there yet, but sooner than later, I will be further away from a 17-year-old than my 2-year-old son will be. And so, that's kind of right where you got to realize, like, I'm not even in tune with what the 17-year-olds are thinking on a regular basis, let alone what, someone who's about to go make, $5, $6, $7 million in college now is thinking. So I think we can celebrate the big wins, like the ones that are like, whoa, that's crazy. This guy's like the next, Victor Wembanyama. But other than that, I feel like it's never been our lane, and it will continue to be something we do not address.
Something I also don't want to address is like hardcore in-depth position battles. I don't have the knowledge. I can't do it. There was a time, when I'll say, for the sake of like needing to back in the Big House Report days, like thinking back that far, you might need to kind of fake it a little bit, and not so much BS it, but if your knowledge base is 80% of the way there or less, pretend it's 95. So
yeah. That's a stretch, by the way. I feel like the knowledge base for most that do this sort of writing, not to
40.
pick on people, but is probably more like 45%, pretend it's 85%, and write the story anyway.
Yes. So I don't want to do that. I don't think it's worth it. It's not who we are.
Now, are we talking who's the second and third string Mike linebacker deep, or are we like, even like a quarterback battle, or will we see this young guy at receiver, or who's like a third running back that could, step up if somebody between, Justice Haynes and Jordan Marshall, gets injured? Like, could there be a third guy? Like, what kind of layer that for me on like what we do, what we do not maybe do.
We don't get to the third string running back contributor. I don't.
Okay.
If you want to talk about it, I'll mute myself.
Hey, we'll talk about it if a third string contributor pops a 95-yard touchdown.
The reason I want to stay away from that kind of stuff is because it's the thing everybody already does. And who are we throwing our hats into the ring saying, listen to me, listen to me? Nobody's going to listen to that because, we're not there, We didn't build
a third string running back option.
Huh?
Can you name a third string running back option?
No, I can't.
Well, then that's why we stay out of that lane as well.
I'm not gonna get rid of the possibility of talking about Bryce Underwood. Obviously, that's fun. What I don't want to do is go down the speculation rabbit hole of like, he's really not scanning the left side of the field very well. What's up with that? He's late to his left. Everything within 10 yards to his right ends up on the back shoulder. Stuff. It just, even if I notice,
those are good examples.
I'm going to shut up.
Here's an example where I think I would lean into a Bryce Underwood if given a start, for example. And I think we talked about this with JJ. is like, can you have a record-setting season at maybe some point in your career? I'm not in touch with the freshman year records. I'm sure there's a whole set of those that somebody could go after. I hear someone like Donovan McCulley, transfer from Indiana, wide receiver, like very openly talk about wanting to be a 1,000-yard receiver. I don't think Michigan's had a 1,000-yard receiver since Jeremy Gallon in 2013. And so I think those are examples of where, like, I would maybe want to look at something like that. Like, I think the touchdown record, isn't it like 25 touchdowns or something for a Michigan quarterback?
Is it Chad Henne in a season?
Yeah, and it's not like, and then you've got you've got Ohio State quarterbacks, for example, that are throwing 25 in the first 4 games
in the
of
non-conference.
the season. Yeah, so it's like that's where 3-4 games into the season, like, rather of what could he improve on in terms of, is he making the right reads, is more of like, is there finally a Michigan quarterback on track to throw for X amount of yards or X amount of touchdowns? I mean, really the last, JJ, I think that kind of stuff is talked about. Roman Wilson probably, honestly, could have gotten 1,000 yards. There was just a time where Michigan was beaten up so badly on teams that year that Roman Wilson probably didn't play 2 quarters. So
I like the idea of you mentioned Roy Roundtree, which mentally for me just took me down this great memory lane of like all those guys, Jeremy Gallon, who else could we? I mean, of course, there's Denard Robinson, who somehow got caught up in the Connor Stallions stuff.
And big time too. Like, poor Denard, he was.
What even happened?
On the wheel in the NFL. He got in trouble, with a DUI or something, well, that he lost his position. But dude, that was a shock. And I saw a clip from Connor Stallions. I don't know if it was. Here's a throwback name. David Cohn has like a podcast.
Okay.
And Connor Stallions was on his podcast, basically saying how, the battles against Ohio State, this is how we stole each other's signs, this is what I looked for. And he name-dropped Denard, and I don't know if I just never heard that clip or if it's a new clip, maybe he is talking about it now that it's been released, but he name-dropped Denard as like a guy who would help him zero in on the signers to see out of the 4 quarterbacks or whatever, who was the guy to actually read. And like, I don't know if it's because he name-dropped him that he got pulled into it, but I think that we'll do a good job of separating what's happening with that and, what's been released with the punishments, and just thinking of Denard Robinson as comeback against Notre Dame under the lights for the first time, hitting Roy Roundtree in the corner of the end zone. Like,
they left him alone. Jeremy Gallon, down the sideline.
Yeah.
Like, all that stuff is still in my head. Can I run through my notes and tell you what we've got so far? So, Hail to the Dads is and let me make sure I got this right, hard rebrand, but soft relaunch.
I like it.
Is that what you
said? Better than I thought it would.
Those are your words. I don't know. I tried to remember as I was writing them down. I wrote down sleep is good, which I think I meant your sleeping situation with your son is good. Also, sleep in general is good. We are relearning how to watch college football. I wrote down this might be a podcast about flopping. I don't remember the exact context. This might be a podcast about flopping. And this isn't a recruiting podcast. So I think that does a pretty good job of summarizing who we are and who we're not.
And I think, like fatherhood, being the newest father out of us two,
yeah.
we will learn as we go. We might bring some sort of podcast experience to the table, but we took a year off, and life just looks so much different for both of us. That, like a classic fatherhood journey, where you try some things, you fail, you celebrate milestones. I think we'll this podcast will kind of grow as a natural father grows and, becoming the best dad of the world, number one dad. So I'm not saying the sites are number one podcast, but I think we'll learn as we go and just kind of figure this thing out. And that's honestly probably what we're best at.
Should I get us to our fan mail segment?
I'm down for a fan mail segment always.
Here we go. Riverside's supposed to be playing something.
That
Let me try another transition.
The awkward silence could actually sell.
Yeah, that's nowhere to be found. Here's the reason why.
Which, by the way, okay. Oh, thank goodness. That mail is high speed jet. Like,
there is no fan mail. I should be clear. There is no fan mail.
I should be clear that if we are talking about sounds, whether in the intro or just now, and you're not hearing them, there's a chance that these don't make the recording because we might not know what we're doing in terms of editing with, the help of AI. AI, you'd imagine, just does it for us, but who knows?
Here's the first transition I tried to play. My God. Sounds like we're about to watch a Michael Bay movie or something.
And it's extremely loud. Like,
it is.
Can you control that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it though, to be honest.
I mean, how often? Here's a question: how often do we do this thing?
Maybe
we don't take another year break, I assume.
Yeah, just one a year. I was thinking we'll come back every year and just kind of do the same episode. Who are we? What are we doing here? No, I think it's safe to aim for one a week, and then as life realistically happens, we probably end up around the 3.5 mark on average. Yep. I know you can't do half of a podcast a week, but
technically we could do like a quick hitter if we had to.
A quick, yeah, like a hit and run kind of thing.
Like, hey, kid's not sleeping, just found out, wanted to hop on, but I've got 8 minutes of content for you, or 4. You have 4, I have 4. Let's put out 8 minutes of content.
That's better than 0 minutes of content. I live to make content.
It is.
Love making content.
Maybe we'll have to go, solo at some point. Who knows?
Might have to fist pump under the blanket.
I hope that laughed. Except that was so well timed. Did you have that pre-planned? Did you have the sound lined up, or you just happened to be close enough to click it?
I was just close enough to click it. If I'm going to run,
you had no idea what that would sound like. Technically, I mean, it had a description where that it's going to be people laughing.
But I thought maybe it might just be one person laughing maniacally.
That was sitcom style.
Yeah. Well, we are 33 minutes into this thing officially, and I feel us running out of things to talk about as we introduce ourselves. But is there anything we're missing that people need to know about Hail to the Dads?
I mean, work in progress is the only
Should we
thing
tell them about our
mind.
failed OnlyFans?
That would be
just really quick.
Subject.
Really quick. Derek got caught saying some slurs, and otherwise it was going great.
Yeah, it's one of those things that when we started that, we had just envisioned a different outcome, and you had a second dad into the mix, and you have a joint OnlyFans.
Well, there was a third dad for a while, but that was a disaster.
Yeah. That's probably when it got awkward enough to really change the dynamic.
Yeah, but this one hopefully is here to stay. It's just like an
oversaturated market, like too many
hot dads
on OnlyFans.
Yeah, and I kept getting requests to take off my shirt and stuff, and I wasn't comfortable. I mean, really there to feet content, and that's all I was comfortable doing. So it got out of hand really quickly, and then of course we got the ban. Thank you for that, and so yeah, we're here as Hail to the Dads to try to do a hard rebrand and soft relaunch. So if you recognize us, pretend you don't. Okay. All right. See you next
You don't
time.
know who we are.
See you, Derek.
See you later, Tyler.